Oh, not a, okay, here you go. Thank you. And I'm ready. You're ready? Everybody's ready? Everybody ready. Okay. Three, two, one, now. Greetings, family. Welcome to another one of your Frank 26 UB2Bs. Tonight, we have Bill Johnson from the Protection Group LLC Trust Funds. You're going to learn a lot. These are the types of things that you need to be aware of in order to protect yourself financially. I'm very proud to have Bill Johnson with us tonight. Many of you know him very well. And what we're going to do is introduce him. He's going to say a few words, and then we're going to hit him with some questions that I have from you. And then we're going to open it up and see if you have any questions yourself. When we're all done, dessert. Alrighty, with that said, oh, you know what, Tink? We didn't put dot, 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 and dessert on the title. Can you do that? We'll do it later, okay? Or if you can do it now, go ahead. But before we get started, we are KTFalways.com. KTFalways.com. That stands for Keep the Faith Always in our Heavenly Father. And before we go anywhere, we always go to our Heavenly Father in order to be guided by the Holy Spirit. So, for tonight's conference call, won't you join me? I'm sure that many of you know this. Our Father, who art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. Thy kingdom come, thy will be done on earth as it is in heaven. Give us this day our daily bread, and forgive us for our trespasses as we forgive those that trespass against us. And lead us not into temptation, but deliver us from evil. For thine is the kingdom and the power and the glory forever and ever. Amen. And there's one more thing that I want to do, ladies and gentlemen, from this point onward as well, too. You see this behind me? This is the American flag. This is to be respected. You put your hand over your heart. If you're military, you can salute. Here we go. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice and for all. Thank you kindly for being with us on our UB2B. Today is the 2nd of March, 2021. And like I said, we're going to be having our dear brother, Bill, that is going to talk to you about the Protection Group LLC Trust Funds. This is something that you really need to study and be, well, not only aware of, but be ready. Be ready. The moment you find yourself in a position where you have to protect your money, you want to kind of like move fast. So hopefully this will help you tonight. I'd like to introduce Bill Johnson to you, family. Bill Johnson, are you there, sir?
I'm here, Frank. I hear you loud and clear.
Yes, sir. And the same with us. We can hear you very well. The floor is yours. And when you're done with your introduction, I'd like to ask you some questions.
That's exactly what we want to do. We want to get the questions answered for people because you can't make up answers and you can't find out the answers unless you ask the questions. So if we can do a few questions ourselves back and forth, maybe that'll hit some hot spots and it cause some people to have to have a question on their own based on what we were talking about.
Exactly.
But folks,
Yes.
it's important. It's important to understand what a trust does for you. I was talking to a couple the other day, and they said they were interested in the trust from the protection group, and they said, what do we do with the wills that we have? And I knew right then that they didn't understand anything about a trust, and so it's important. What I'm trying to do with Frank's help is to give you an education that's free to you, and it's something could be very valuable to you. And if you want to do business with a protection group, by golly, we'd love to have you, and we're always going to be here to work with you and help you. We're no further away than our telephone or our computer. We accept messages, questions by email more than anything, because the good thing about an emailed question to the protection group is you write it down, we answer it in writing, and you print it off and put it in your trust book and keep it, because there's an answer. It's a legal protection for you on anything you ask. So if it was not answered correctly, then you'd have a leg to stand on, sue the daggone protection group. But that's not going to happen because we don't do that. But it's there for you. Well, you do need to keep notes. But everybody that's in this exchange, and there's only 10 million, maybe 12 million by now, by 14 million. Now, who knows? We don't know, and it doesn't matter. The only people that I can help are the people that come in contact with Frank and with Blaine and a couple other folks that we work with, and that's that's what we want to do. We'd like to help other people because, quite frankly, if if you don't know what you're doing and you go to the bank, and I hate to be negative, but I've got to explain this to you. You have to understand. On our trust, and Frank, we'll get into it in just a few minutes. We'll talk about it. But in our trust, you control the trust 100% of the time. Now it doesn't sound like much, but it's important. You have to understand that's your money in there. You're funding the trust. You're putting it in the trust, but it's your money. So do you want to have somebody else tell you how to spend it? Heck no, you don't. Absolutely not. My point is this: when you go to the bank, you do not have to have a trust to exchange your currency. You might run into some unscrupulous bankers that tell you, yes, you do have to have a trust in order to exchange, and we'll give you a trust. Well, that's where the red flag goes up, because when they give you and they'll give you a trust, they'll give you where we're going to charge money for our trust, they'll give you one. And it'll be an irrevocable trust, and it will literally protect your assets. It can work that way. But you don't have any control. Not 100%. You don't have any control. Now, I don't think that's what you want. I mean, you're going to have to pay for what we have, but the bank's going to give you, but it's going to make it so that the bank controls your money. That's what they want. They'll give you that to control your money. If you have $1 million and you go tell them you want to buy a $300,000 home, and they say no, you don't have any recourse. There's not a thing in the world you can do. With our trust, if you ask for $300,000 on $1 million and it's with the Protection Group Trust, and the trustees say no, it's not a problem. You fire the trustee. They serve at your pleasure. Say, John, I appreciate you trying to help me, but I don't need you anymore. I can't stand it. You can be nice or you can be mean. I mean, however you want to do it. But the bottom line is you control it. And that's where you would just get another trustee and get the $300,000 for the house just as fast as however long it took to get that done. But that's what you control. That's what I mean by control. You control it 100% of the time. And in addition to that, there's not a single person on this call that does not need a trust. You may not want one. You may not think you need it, but you do need it. And it's not expensive. It's not, I'll tell you, up front's $2,900. Frank and I are going to talk about that in a minute, but we're not hiding it. It's $2,900. That's the most you'll ever pay. There are no other fees. There's no annual fees. The trust is, when you execute the trust, you end up recording it, like when you buy a car and you put in a car in the name of the trust, and you go to the county court clerk and you get a title for it, and the title's in the name of the trust, you just registered it. So every 14 years, 13 or 14, I've got one note that says 13, no one says 14, but every 14 years, the trust renews itself automatically. There's no fee. So you pay $2,900. The trust will last for hundreds of years. It'll go on and on and on, renewing itself automatically. So it's a wonderful thing. One other thing, and then we'll get to it. I'm going to see if Frank's got some questions for me. But one other thing that we need to talk about is if you don't have a trust, if you have a will, and or you have another kind of a trust, a revocable trust. When you pass away, and let's say you have a lot of money, you will be responsible to the federal government with inheritance taxes up to 50% of your wealth. What if all your wealth is in rental properties, in real estate? It's not a problem. IRS says it's not a problem. Sell what you got to sell to give us our money. We don't want your property. We want your money. There you go. So with a trust, our trust, you do not pay any inheritance taxes. You know why? Because you don't own anything. You put everything in trust. Your cash is in trust. Your home's in a trust. Your automobiles are in a trust. Your rental properties are all in trust. And when you pass away, those properties are still in those trusts. The only thing that changes is you are no longer here on this earth, but the people that you have told, that you have mentioned, that you have written down as your successor beneficiaries, which means they're going to succeed you as the beneficiary. It's the minute you die, they take over that position, and none of the assets are changed. They're just giving the money now to a different person, but there's no taxes involved in that kind of a situation. Okay. Now, if you want to talk about taxes for 1 second, I'll go ahead and talk about them. When you have the money that you're going to get in exchange, if it turns out that there's taxes due on that money, and I don't know what it'd be, 10%, 23% for short-term, long-term capital gains, maybe there's no tax. I don't know. Let's say there is tax. Okay, and you come back and you exchange it, you put your money in a checking account, your taxes won't be due for a few months. You get with your CPA and figure it out. But in the meantime, you buy a trust, and you take the money that you have in your checking account and you put it into the trust. Well, you still owe the taxes. The trust is not a tax haven. It's not something that deprives the federal government of getting their money. It's not going to happen. We don't do that. Nope, it's not even thought about. Whatever the taxes are. Here's the advantage, though. Your CPA will be able to figure out for you which entity can pay the taxes, and that means that your trust can pay the taxes on that money that you got at the exchange, or you can pay the taxes with the money that you got at the exchange. But both of you don't have to pay the taxes. Only one of you, and which one pays? I don't know. I can't answer your question, but your CPA will be able to, and it's that they're different tax rates. So you may pay cheaper with you individually. It may be the trust pays it, but it doesn't matter. Every year when you earn money and you have taxes, you're gonna have that same dilemma every year. Who pays the taxes? Whatever's due, and your CPA will figure that out. You don't need to worry about it. It's something that they will do. I'm not a CPA, and if I was, I still couldn't tell you, because I'd have to do your tax return before I could know which is the better way. But it's just an option that you have. Okay, Frank. Excuse me. That's a good opening for me, I think. Let's go see if we got any questions that I understand you have a few.
Yes, we do. We've gathered some questions that are very common, and I'll ask them, you answer them, and then we move on to the next one. But before we do, ladies and gentlemen, it's really a very good point that Bill just made. This is not a tax haven. If anything at all, this puts you in the position to pay your taxes. But Bill, I remember seeing what's his name, Ted Kennedy. He's the senator. He's already passed away. But you remember Ted Kennedy?
I remember he ran off the bridge in Chappaquiddick and killed Mary Jo Kopacek. I can't pronounce her last name, but yes. Yes, I do remember him.
He pretty well got away with that because, he abandoned her. He tried to, leave the scene. Normally when it's a hit and run like that, yeah, it's a pretty close case. And in his case, he had a lot of political power that protected him. But you know what else that guy had? I remember one time he said they asked a Kennedy member, and it was on television when I saw it. And they said, well, sir, with the high taxes is that putting you in a bad position? And he looked at the report and he says, I haven't paid taxes in decades. What? And it's interesting that he would actually have the nerve to say that. But there is a way. There is a way. And we're not saying that this is a way. What we're saying is that there's a way to protect your money. And that's what we're teaching you tonight with this. But unfortunately, there are scrupulous people out there that do evil things and use weapons, or I should say use tools as weapons. In this case, let's get started with some questions, because the trust fund, the concept of protecting your money under a trust is what politicians have been using since the days of the Stone Age. Wouldn't you agree, Bill?
They have. It's actually 16. Let's see. Hold on a minute. Let me look. Let me give you the exact date that Patrick Henry brought. 1765. Patrick Henry brought the very first trust into the United States. It's called the North American Land Trust, and believe it or not, it's still in existence
It's
today.
still, yep.
Never has gone anywhere. And
Well,
talking about Ted Kennedy, got sued because he did such a bad thing, did some very naughty things, just unconscionable things.
yep.
But Ted Kennedy didn't own anything.
He didn't pay one penny.
But he didn't own anything.
And he didn't lose anything because he didn't have it in his names.
Everything was in the trust.
In the trust.
Everything was. That's what we're talking about. It's called asset protection, and but he did a bad thing there. It was awful. He didn't even try. He could have saved her if he'd had been a man.
Yeah, that's a good one. All righty, Bill. Let's fire off some questions. For example, how many trustees do you have to have? Can you just have one trustee?
No, sir. You have to have two. You cannot have just one trustee. And if you have a trustee and you have two trustees and one of them passes away, you have a protector that can take the place of that other trustee for a week or a day or two or whatever, however long it takes you to get another trustee. But you definitely have to get another trustee in there. You do need two. And you, Frank, as the settler of this trust, the owner basically of this trust, you're not a trustee. You cannot be a trustee. You don't want to be a trustee. That's one reason you have asset protection. You realize that if you were the trustee of any trust, you were the trustee, and you had a lawsuit against you, the judge would just look at you and say, Frank, $3 million, it's not a problem. You write a check. And you'd say, whoa, wait a minute, I didn't know I had to do that. But yeah, so you have to two trustees, and you have to have those two, both of them. Okay.
Thank you. Here's another question. Oh, and by the way, for example, Linda Babin, if you can hold up, ma'am, until the end, then we'll take your questions, okay? But not right now. What we want to do is present the questions that I'm presenting with the answer. And that's what my wife is doing right now, so that it'll be in the chat, okay? But when we're done with these questions, you go right ahead and we'll see if we can help you with yours, all right? Okay. So here we go. And for example, there's another one. Chickadee, if you can just hold on, please, and not ask any questions. Not the one. If you could just hold on, please, and not ask any questions. Bill, can I be my own trustee?
No, you cannot be your own trustee.
Okay. All righty.
And I just mentioned to you why.
Yes, you did.
You can't. There are trusts out there that you can be your own trustee, but that trust offers zero asset protection, and you cannot be your trustee in our trust because we're here to get to present to you and sell you basically, a trust that protects you. And so, but anyway, you cannot be a trustee in your own trust, not with an irrevocable trust.
Gotcha. If I have 10 trusts. To start with, because that's what your protection group offers. If I have 10 trusts to start with, do I need 10 checking accounts and 10 EIN numbers?
No, Frank, you have the first trust that you're going to set up is going to be called your asset management trust. In all my examples, I always call it ABC Asset Management Trust because it's simple and I'm simple. So, don't make it hard. ABC Asset Management Trust is the only trust that you'll need to have an EIN number from the Internal Revenue Service. When you apply to the Internal Revenue Service for that EIN number, you have just registered your trust. You get the EIN number, you go to the bank of your choice, and you open up a checking account. That's the only checking account that you'll ever need and the only EIN number that you'll ever need. The other trusts are going to become sub-trusts under your main asset management trust. They will hold your assets like houses and automobiles and motorcycles and so on.
Gotcha.
Asset management trust will be where all your cash is kept, and there'll be nothing else in that trust but cash.
There you go. Right. I'm so sorry, Bill. I have to reiterate one more time because, we're getting people and they're innocent. They don't know this. Ladies and gentlemen, please do not post your questions right now. We are asking certain questions and we're putting the answers, and we'd like to keep it all in a nice little tight package. Do not ask any questions right now. When we are done with these questions that I'm asking Bill, we will open it up to you. Thank you for understanding. Bill, here's another question. Can I change my successor beneficiary after I've set up my trust fund?
Frank, you certainly may. You certainly can. The irrevocable name of the trust is called an irrevocable complex segregated asset trust. And the first thing people think of, including myself when I first heard it, that irrevocable means you can't change anything. Whatever I put in my trust in 2021, it's there. I can't ever change it. Well, that's not true in our trust. It may be true in a lot of trusts. I haven't read them all. All trusts are written by different attorneys. So our attorneys wrote this one to where the irrevocable part does not apply to you you as the settler of the trust. Now, let me explain to the settlers. If you and Jan have a trust and you're going to put your money, go to your exchange, you're going to have your money in there, however you do it, you're going to be the settlers of the trust. That means you're the folks that are going to fund the trust. You're going to be the ones that put the money into the trust. So you are the settlers of the trust. Okay.
All right.
Now,
yeah.
You have other places in the trust that you're going to put trustees and protector, and you're going to put a bloodline clause, and you're going to put the successor beneficiaries that you put in there. Maybe you have 3 people that are all your children, and you put them in as successor beneficiaries right now. Well, what happens if 10 years from now you want to add another one?
Good point.
Well, with our trust, as long as you here's the kicker, as long as you and or Jan are alive, you can change anything that you have that you put in your trust in 2021 at the time you want to change it. And you can change it a time, and 2 years later change it again. You can change it as many times as you want to. It's the last written document that will stand.
Gotcha. Can my son or daughter be my trustee?
Yes, they can. But would you not think that your son and daughter would be successor beneficiaries?
Oh.
I mean, see, now if they're going to be successor beneficiaries, then they cannot be a trustee or a protector. There's 5 sections to the application: A, B, C, D, and E. A and B are you and Jan. A is you and Jan are the settlers. You and Jan are the beneficiaries. Part C is the successor beneficiaries. Part D are the trustees. Part E is the protector. In C, D, and E, the last 3 parts, anybody's name can only appear one time. So you can only hold one post in that trust.
Gotcha. Okay. Does irrevocable trust mean that I can't change anything?
I just answered that for you.
I know.
You can. Hey, let me take that one step further.
Okay.
Why is it called an irrevocable trust if you can change everything? Then it shouldn't be irrevocable. Well, here's the reason that it's an irrevocable trust. Here's how, for the reason, really the way it works. You and Jan are the beneficiaries and the settlers of the trust. You can change anything you want. And one thing you're going to do along the way, right after you get your money and you get your trust set up and get all the things done, you're going to set up the criteria for your successor beneficiaries. When you guys have passed away, you want to set up some kind of a program of how they're going to get the money out of it. So you're setting up parameters for your successor beneficiaries. Well, you set it up, you control it from the grave. And the reason that you do that is because if you didn't do that, if you put nothing in there, your successor beneficiaries could just take everything out of the trust and walk away. Sell it all, and your grandkids would never see a penny. But you control it by setting up the parameters, and they cannot change it. You know why? Because it's irrevocable.
Ah.
That's where the irrevocable part comes in.
Thank you, Bill. Hey, Bill, I know that there's 10 trust funds that the package includes. How do I pay for my trust? Are there more fees after I pay the $2,900 for the 10 trusts?
No, there are never any. There are never any more fees. And when the folks that are on the call, when I give them the information number, the phone number to get all the information they need to further their education.
Uh-huh.
In that phone call, we talk about the application and how you fill it out. All the things that you do. Okay, to fill it out. And now, what's your question? I lost your question. Oh, and the fee. Okay, and I'm sorry. It explains in there. It explains in that information call how you pay for it. It's really done very easily, very quickly, and very simply. You fill out the application, you do it correctly. You email it to the protection group. The protection group looks at your application and says, "Aha, this is correct." Because it's correct, we'll accept your application and allow you to purchase the trust. So we send you via email a little bit daggone wiring instructions. We send you wiring instructions. I'm not even drinking, Frank. I'm just losing the train of thought here every once in a while. But we wire the transfer information to you. You print that off and take it to your banker. Your banker wires the $2,900 to the protection group, and then you take the receipt that they give to you at the bank. You scan that in and send it back to the protection group, and we'll start on your trust immediately. And the reason I say that is because if you don't do it that way, if you don't say you start immediately, but with the receipt, it could be a day and a half or 2 days before we get the money in the bank.
Yeah.
Wires are not right now. They can take an hour, or they can take 2 days. So we never know. So that's the way you start. But there'll be no more fees other than that $2,900. Now, there's one exception to that. You have 10 trusts. You have one ABC asset management trust that holds your money. You've got 9 other trusts that hold your assets, like automobiles and rental properties and stuff. Let's say you use them all up and you don't have any left, and you got another house you want to buy as a rental property to put in your portfolio. You can buy that 11th trust from the protection group for $100. So so you can buy all you want. You could have 20 or 30 trusts, but each trust above the 10 costs you $100. That's not a fee. That's about you're buying more of the product. But as far as any fees for like sending in emails, asking questions, I've had 5 people in the last year call and say, "Bill, you ain't gonna believe this. You're not gonna believe. Shouldn't say ain't, but you're not gonna believe this." I say, "What happened there, Louise?" Well, my computer went down, and it just died, and my trust was in the computer, and I can't get to it. It's in the hard drive, and I can't get to it. What can I do? I said, "Well, it's not a problem, Louise. All you do is just send an email to the Protection Group LLC at gmail.com, and obviously, Louise, you know the address. Tell us the name of your asset management trust, your ABC asset management trust. Your name's Bill Johnson, and you need a new trust because yours got lost in a computer malfunction. The new trust will be sent to you immediately at no charge."
Beautiful. I love the backup for a backup system. You've explained to us, the definition of a trustee. What does the protector do?
The protector is there to protect you. The trustee is there to look after the trust, look after the rental property that comes in, the money comes in, make sure it gets into the checking account. The protector is there to do whatever you want them to do. They can never say no to you. So they're always going to be there to back you up 100% of the time. Let's say, for example, that you wanted to buy something that was extravagant. Maybe you have $20 million in your checking account, in your trust, and you tell the trustees you want to buy a $17 million airplane. One of the trustees says, "Well, I don't care. It's your money. Do whatever you want. It's basically your money, but you can do it." So he signs off on it. The other trustee says, "Bill, there's no way. I'm not signing off on that. That's irresponsible on my part to allow you to spend $17 million of your money." And so they refuse and say, "Well, now I can't buy the airplane," because they have to have both trustees sign off on the minutes of the meeting. So I tell the protector, "Mr. Protector, I need you to go in and sign the minutes of the meeting as the trustee for that object, for that item, so I can get my $17 million airplane." The protector has no choice but to go do what you ask them to do. That's what they're there for.
Gotcha, my brother. That's an interesting answer that you just gave. Huh, I learned something. Bill, who keeps the checkbook?
Well, that's strictly up to you, the beneficiary. In my case, Frank, I keep the checkbook. I've got my own checkbook,
That's
and here's the
smart.
reason why.
That's what I do.
It's just easier to do it this way. But anytime I want something, let's say that I want to do a letter of wishes, which is the first step of getting anything from the trust.
You just
The
call.
trust is owned by all the assets are owned by the trust. The trustees manage those assets. They serve at my pleasure. I pay them some, and they serve at my pleasure. My pleasure. So I can do whatever I want to do. But if I've got, let's say I want to get $10,000, I'll do a letter of wishes. And I'll say beneficiary wants a check for $10,000. Period. I sign it and date it, and email it to Bob, who is one of my trustees. Bob signs it and sends it back to me. Okay, now I've got to meet Ray, who's the other trustee, to get it signed. Well, I've got to get him to write a check anyway. So I'll say, Ray, can you meet me this afternoon when you get off from work down at the whatever, and I buy you a cup of coffee at the truck stop or whatever? He says, sure. So when I go, I've got to get ready to sign off that minutes of the meeting to make it to where I can get the $10,000, right? Because I have to have both trustees off on anything I've asked for.
Right.
Bob signed off on it, and Ray's going to. I take him the letter of wishes that's been emailed back to me from Bob. And I take it down and meet with Ray. So Ray needs to sign this, authorize this for me. And he does. And I said, now here's the checkbook. Write a check for me, please, for $10,000. And he by law has to write out that entire check. He has to put the date, my name, the $10,000, write it out $10,000, and sign the check. And it only takes one person to sign a check, one of your trustees to sign that check. He'll then take that $10,000, give it to me. I'll go put it in my check account that I use every day down at the credit union, and I'll just throw it in there, and I'll have money to spend. Maybe I want to do something special with it. Maybe I want to give some away. Maybe I got some people I want to give $5,000 to, and I'll give two people $5,000, and I can do that. And the trustee doesn't need to know what I did with it. The trustee doesn't even have the right to ask me what I'm doing with it. It's none of his business.
Good point.
What I did with it.
Good point. Next question. But before I do, Bill, once again, we're getting more people. Ladies and gentlemen, we were asking that do not post your questions right now. What we're doing is we're having Bill to answer some other questions, and we're trying to keep them all together, grouped together. So don't post any questions. When Bill is done, then we will answer your questions, okay? All right. Thanks for understanding. Bill, can the trust give money to a charity?
A trust cannot give money to a charity, and you know why?
No.
Well, the trust can. The only two people that can benefit from the assets of the trust are you and Jan. So if the trust wrote a check to St. Jude's for $10,000, that would be in violation of the trust agreement, and you could lose your protection of the trust because a $10,000 check to anybody, the church, to St. Jude's, it does not benefit you. It benefits St. Jude's. So here's what you do: you write a check, you do a letter of wishes, says the beneficiary needs a check for $10,000. You give me the $10,000. I go just like I did a minute ago with Bob and Ray. I meet him. I get my $10,000. I put it into my checking account. I go to the bank and I tell them something like, I want you to convert that $10,000 into a cashier's check made payable to St. Jude's, please. Oh. And they'll do that, and I'll send it to St. Jude's. It gets done, but the trust cannot do it.
Gotcha. You take the responsibility. You create the paper trail in your name outside of the trust fund, which does not have your name. Very good.
That is correct.
If the trust makes money, how are the taxes paid?
Well, the taxes can be paid by you as an individual or by the trust. You have a CPA that's going to work with you, I'm sure, and that CPA will figure out the taxes and figure out which one of you has got the best deal to pay the taxes. There are different tax rates, Frank. The individual has one tax rate, the corporation the trust has another tax rate. And
Uh-huh.
so when they figure it all up and do all the deductions and by the way, the $10,000 that went to St. Jude's, that's a deductible item,
Yes.
and that's going to come from your side of the numbers.
In
But
my name.
they'll still compose it, put them all together. It all
Yeah.
goes together, and then you can have the trust pay the taxes, or but not both of you, just either one.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah, very good. Staying on the idea of taxes, if I get $20,000 out of my trust, is that 20,000 taxable?
It is not. That money is already been taxed. That money
Oh
that's
yeah.
in the account, you're already paying the taxes. You're just taking 20,000 out, and it's called, instead of income to you, it's called a reduction of principal of your trust.
Hmm.
It's not income to you, so you do not have to pay the taxes.
Roger.
There are no taxes due. It's kind of like right now. You go out and you get a paycheck, and you get that you pay your taxes out of it, and you've got a few $1,000s left. And you want to do something with it, you can do it. You can give it smash. You can put it into another account. You can give it to your wife. Give it to your kids. You can you don't have, but it's not taxable when you do it. You already paid the taxes.
Gotcha. Bill, these trusts that the protection group has that you represent, can they be purchased outside of the United States? If I live in Australia, can I do business with your company?
No, sir, you can't. It's only the 50 states of the United States, and you have to be 18 years of age, and you have to be a citizen of the United States in order to have our trust.
Gotcha. Okay. Well, I'll tell you what, I feel very comfortable with the questions that we've been volleying back and forth here with the answers. Let's see what the family has. Family, in fact, Bill, we had a gentleman by the name of McD. McD says, "Hey, Frank and Tink, this is so important, to have this knowledge. And I'm very glad that you appreciate this, family. You can go to our forum, ktfalways.com, and you look for the banner that has the Protection Group LLC. Click on that banner, and this is an example of what you're going to see. This is an example of what you would see when you go there. And as you can see, it already has lined up some good questions there for you. And we also have meetings with lawyers. I believe it's 2 lawyers, isn't it, Bill, that you guys have?
Frank, just one. Scott Sadak is the retained attorney for the protection
Oh,
group, and
okay,
he's
gotcha.
the calls that we do on Tuesday and Thursday night, which tonight's Tuesday. So at 8:30 Eastern time, we have that live call, and Scott is always on that call to answer any questions that legal. I am not an attorney, so I don't give legal advice, but he can.
Gotcha. And on
it's
here,
free, and it's free.
and on here, family, if you look there where the green is at, it tells you the time. We'll give you all of this again tonight, because as soon as you're done, what does it say there? Every Tuesday and Thursday. Well, by George, as soon as you're done with us, you can go right on over to this next conference call where they have a lawyer that can answer your questions more direct. So, without a doubt, this knowledge is powerful, and it's important for us that are in a position where it is possible that we may be looking at some financial gains, and we have to find a way to protect it. It's your duty to protect it. You can't be lackadaisical about it and say, well, the money's in the bank and protect it. Oh my word. The moment that they know that you have this money, trust me, not only are your friends and relatives going to knock on your door and say, can I borrow some? But Uncle Sam is going to say, can you prove some to me? They'll find a way to take it away from you if you don't protect yourself properly. Alrighty, let's get started then. And don't forget, go to our forum, ktfalways.com. Look up on top and look for the banner that has the wording of the Protection Group LLC. And in fact, I'm going to have Tink bring it up so that I can show it to you exactly what it looks like. But for right now, let's go ahead and see what we can do about some questions. Let me start with Linda. Bless her heart. She was the very first one. Linda says, in my passing away, let's see if I can get this question out properly, Bill. In my passing away, does my child automatically have the same control as I do over my trust funds?
The answer is no. She has 100% control up until her death. At the end of her death, she has set up parameters for her successor, which is her daughter, to receive benefits. And however she set that up is how the daughter would get money.
Wow. I learned something again. Okay, let's see here. Rules created by rich. Nope, that ain't it. Here's a question from Timothy. How does how do he means how do top and tax rate differ between individuals versus the trust? In other words, is there any tax advantage to set up the trust before the exchange?
There is an advantage to set it up before the exchange.
There is?
And there is, absolutely.
Okay, go ahead.
If you have the opportunity to do it and get it done like hundreds of people already have, then one of the things you can do is assign your currency to the trust, meaning taking it out of your name, putting it in the trust name. When the exchange happens, you would take your trustee with you to the exchange. Let's say you're going to get $10 million, just a round number. That's what you agreed on when you get to the table meeting with the banker. You agree on $10 million. If you have a trust set up, then you just put the money into the trust. Not 1 second has that money ever been exposed.
I got you.
You see, but if you do it post RV, then you take the $10 million and you put it in your checking account. Well, as long as it's in that checking account up until the time that you get your trust set up, it's not protected. Any accident, anything that could happen, there's just all kinds of things. Like Frank said, you'll have a target on your back.
I know.
It's a shame, but that's the way
But
it is.
the moment this blessing occurs, like about 1 nanosecond right after that, yeah, I will be well protected, and I'm using all 10 of your trusts. Here's another question. What if we are broke until the RV happens? Do we have to have the trust before the exchange? That's kind of like what you've already asked, so maybe we'll skip that question.
Well, the answer is no. You don't have to have it. You don't have to have trust.
There you go, and that's when I said no at the beginning. But okay, here's another question from Leroy Yager. Is there a time limit to open the trust from the time that we exchange?
No, there's not.
No. Linda is asking a follow-up question. Can I set up my trust so that my daughter can have total control? Linda, he did answer that when he answered your first question. Just go back and rewind and hear it again. He tells you how you can set it up. We got Craig Rodriguez that says, how would I set up an interest trust, and how does it work exactly? Craig, the best thing for you is at 8:30, come back and listen to the program. They define the whole program, and then they have a lawyer there that can answer your questions a little bit more directly. By the way, family, your questions are going by too fast. If I miss your questions, do not take it personal. Okay, Jamaican Dog. If they are in Wyoming and I'm in North Carolina, how do I get the check written or meet to get the second signature and the check written?
Okay, the trust is a Wyoming trust, and I'm in Tennessee, and I have nothing to do with Wyoming except I have a Wyoming trust, which means that the laws of the trust are written by the laws of Wyoming. And so that if there's ever a court situation, because they're consumer friendly to credit card people in the courts in Delaware, Wyoming is consumer friendly to any kind of law action that comes against trust. And so that should answer your question.
It's sad because that question was a good one, and UB2B decided to shut me down for a few seconds. The best thing I can tell you, family, is just simply listen to the recording, or if you belong to our forum, there won't be any notes, I don't think, on this subject. Yeah. I'm sorry that the UB2B shut that question out, but let me go on to the next one. Bill, what's the going rate to pay a trustee? Is there an answer for that?
Well, the answer is there is no answer. It's whatever you want to do. That, Frank, there's going to be some people come out of this thing with, several $100,000, and they're not going to be able to pay a trustee more, $100 a month, $50 a month, just to help them out. There's going to be other people that are going to be billionaires. So what difference does it make what they pay them? They can't spend it all anyway. So it's up, but there's no rule that says you have to pay a trustee. Hey, look, I've got a friend here in town that's got a trust, getting our trust. He has our trust. He's my trustee. I'm his trustee. I don't pay him. He doesn't pay me. He's going to exchange his currency. I'm going to exchange my currency. We're just going to help each other out. So one of your best sources for finding a trustee is somebody that has currency.
Yes. I was just going to say that. Or someone that has their lives in your hand, like your doctor. That's who I'm going to do it with, my doctors there. If I approach someone and I want to talk to them about being a trustee, how do I describe their duties?
Well, the trustee has the duty to look after the trust. And that's all. I mean, that's what he's got. He has the fiduciary responsibility of looking after the trust. In other words, he's not going to do anything illegal, not going to do anything wrong. He's going to make sure that it's taken care of. That if you have rental properties, those rental properties, the checks will come into the post office box or wherever you have them go. The trustee will put those into the checking account each month and be responsible for them. If there's taxes due, the trustee would write a check for the taxes on your property. If there's insurance due, the trustee would just work with you to make sure that the taxes are paid on your insurance. Not the taxes, but the amount of money. They write a check for your insurance. That's all. They don't really. They're going to be pretty busy the first 3 to 6 months because we're going to be busy spending money. But after that, it's going to slow down. We're going to say, "Wait a minute, what am I doing? I need to be down at the shelter, giving out breakfast for people and charging them nothing. I need to get in my car and deliver lunches to people and charge them nothing. I need to be giving back something. I don't need to be worrying about what all I'm going to get."
Can I control how much money my beneficiary takes out, say inside of a year?
Absolutely. I just said we talked about that earlier.
Yeah, I know.
The beneficiary, you're going to be the first beneficiary. You can do it any way you want to. But your successor beneficiaries, you will set up parameters of how much money they can take.
Someone's asking, Bob is asking, does a trust pay interest?
To what?
I guess to the money that you have in the trust.
Well, sure. You could put, say you had a few $1 million you want to put in the bank, and you're going to give it to them, to hold for 3 years, and they're going to pay you a good interest rate because you're going to leave it with the bank.
Oh.
That money, that trust is owned. That deal is owned by the trust. It's signed by the trustee, and the monthly or quarterly interest payments go into the trust, your ABC Asset Management Trust account. It'd be owned by the trust.
Very good. Does each different currency need to be in a different trust?
I've heard it both ways. So, when you're talking about when you exchange it, it costs nothing to like, let's say you had Zim, Dong, and Dinar. Why not put it in 3 separate trusts? But you don't have to. You can put it all in one and just keep a receipt. You need to know how much you put in each one of, don't you think, Frank? I mean, because if I'm going to have $1 million worth of Dinar and $2 million worth of Dong and $2 million whatever, I'm going to have separate deposits for those 3, even if it's in the same account.
Yes, indeed. Gino is asking, what if you want to just do a little bit right now and some later? Yeah, it's your prerogative, Gino. It's your prerogative. Dan Lowry is talking about the changes of the NESARA Act. Will that affect us, with the trust laws in the future? I don't think there's an answer for that right now.
Well, I think the answer is not going to affect anything. The NESARA and GESARA are just ways of money being held by the QFS system instead of banks, and it's going to be handled a different way, but you're still going to have money. It's still going to be cash, and even though it's digits on the screen, it can be the digits on the screen that's owned by the trust. I don't see that it's going to affect it at all.
Okay, very good. Can we set up the paperwork for my trust now and have it ready for when the RI happens? Is that permissible? Says Mr. Holiday.
Mr. Holiday, the answer to that is if you're not going to purchase the trust right now, you can't send it in to us right now, because think about it. You're going to fill out an application and an order form. On the order form, you're going to order a one package of trust for $2,900. You're going to sign it and date it. You send it in to us. You did, but you're ordering it, but you don't really want it. So here's the thing. Let me answer your question this way. Get on the line, get on the calls, get on the information call I'm going to give you at the end of this call, that phone number. Listen to it, understand it, and be ready to send in your application and order form when you're ready to purchase. If you're like most people, and I'm talking about 95 or more percent of the people that are out there in our land, if you're broke and don't have the $2,900 right now, it's understandable. So the minute that you know you're going to have an appointment at the bank, because you've already called the bank. You call the bank, you call the 800 number, or you get it with an email, or however you do it, you get in touch with whoever they tell you to get in touch with, and they tell you that, what is today? Today's Tuesday. They tell you Thursday at 4 o'clock you've got an appointment to exchange your currency. Well, then today is Tuesday. Send in your paperwork. Because
Exactly.
by the time we get it and get it back to you, it's going to be Thursday. And when we send you the wiring instructions, you'll have $1 million or hundreds of thousands of dollars. So, that's how you get in front of everybody. You got to remember human nature. Human nature is that the people that are going to want this trust, that are going to do all the big talking, are procrastinators. They have not filled out the paperwork. They're going to get the RV is going to happen. They're going to get an appointment at the bank. And they say, "Oh my gosh, I haven't filled out my paperwork. I don't even know who my trustees are going to be," and so they're left behind. They can get caught up, but they're going to be at the bottom of the pile, not at the top of the pile.
Someone's asking a good question. How much time does it take to set up a trust?
It takes a couple of days.
Yeah, it's not a very long procedure.
It's not, no, and I'm not talking about 8 hours a day. I'm just talking about the things you have to do. You have to get your trustees into a bank or somewhere where they can have the signatures notarized. You have to go do a tutorial that we send to you that you listen to and look at it on your computer, and in 25 minutes you get an EIN number from the IRS. It takes just 25 to 30 minutes to do that. There's no charge for it, but it's all done for you. There's questions. The Internal Revenue Service asks you probably 20 questions, and each one of those questions is multiple choice, A, B, C, and D. We've got the answer circled in red for you, so I believe you'll be able to answer the correct answer, and you'll send it in just with what we've told you. And so that's going to take you a half hour to get that done. Now you've got to go through your trust, and you got to read. You read the instructions. It comes with instructions. I would spend a couple hours, getting oriented with my trust. And you can do it and finish it in a day or 2 days at the most.
Someone was asking. Let's see here. Daryl from Texas. Does a trust continue through your children or to your grandchildren?
Absolutely.
Yeah, I knew the answer to that one. Let's see. Let's speed it up because you got an 8:30, ladies and gentlemen. It would really behoove you to go to the 8:30, follow him, and ask more questions in there. But let's just ask. Let's see if we can hit a couple more because I do have dessert that I want to talk with you about in a second here. This is interesting. Do I need a trust for my dog in case he bites someone and I get sued? And they get all my money in the trust for my dog? That's an interesting question. You never had that one before.
No, and I don't have an answer for that either.
I would say no. You're not going to put your dog in a trust fund. No.
Get on that call tonight and ask the attorney.
Yeah, ask the attorney that question. That's a good one.
I think that would come under your homeowners. You have homeowners insurance, and I think that it would be paid by your homeowners insurance. And if you didn't have enough in there, they were going to sue you, then it would be sued under homeowners, I would think. But let's ask an attorney that, because I've never had that one before.
Oh my goodness, there's a lot of good questions, and I'm telling you, family, I'm going to go ahead and stop now. Wait a minute. How do you protect your trust if you get married later?
Oh, isn't that wonderful? If you're the one that has, well, it's a great prenuptial agreement. Because if you're a single person and you do this trust, the trust is all set up. You get married, you'll have benefits coming in like crazy in this trust, but she doesn't get any. If she get a divorce, she goes on her way, and your trust isn't affected.
Fascinating. So you better get that preump well established before you marry that person. Bill Johnson, I'm so proud of you. And here, go ahead and give them the phone number of where you're going to be at in another 40 minutes at 8:30 Eastern Standard Time. Go ahead.
Let me give you that number first. That number's the live call, and it's 605-313-5156. The PIN number that it asks for is 155-703#. Now, there's an information call that's kind of like that same number, and that's available to you 24/7, 365. That number is 605-313-5155. With the same PIN number, the 155-703#. And let me tell you one thing about that information call. You cannot purchase a trust from the protection group without listening to the information call. Okay? Because that information that's on there tells you how to do it. I don't tell you on the call that I do tonight, the live call. I don't go into that. It's all on the information call, and encourage you to listen to it. And you're going to need to anyway. You got to remember the trust is in the same family as a corporation, LLC, and a partnership. Can you imagine filling out paperwork for a corporation and just doing it halfway? And you get in there and they say, well, you didn't even fill this out right. Well, we can't accept this. Well, ours is the same situation. Just because it's called a trust doesn't mean we don't have to fill it out correctly. But we do have to fill it out correctly. The application's got to be perfect. And the application, everybody, including myself, said, well, I can fill out an application. Give me a break. I went to college. I know I can fill out an application. Well, you really can't, because you don't know what the parameters are for that application unless you listen to the information call. Please listen to that, and then also after that, if you have questions on that information call, you're going to find a phone number, and that phone number it leads directly to me. But I don't want you to call me and ask me questions until you listen to that information call. And the reason is the information call will probably answer your question, and you won't have to worry about asking me personally. But I'm always glad to do it. But why do it the hard way when you can do it the easy way?
Amen. Thank you, Bill. Right. I'm very proud of you.
I love you. Thank you, man. That was a great session. Great session, and I think we covered just about everything that's important.
Yes, indeed. God bless you, sir, and good luck at 8:30. I'm sure that many are going to follow you from this call.
Thank you. Thanks, Frank. Good night, everybody, and we love everybody, and I hope your blessings are very many, and God's on your team all the time, because if you ask Him, He'll be there.
Amen.
Thanks, Frank.
Bye-bye, Bill. Well, ladies and gentlemen, that was a good call, wasn't it? Very powerful. Good. It sets the mind to thinking. There's a lot of things that you can do right now. If you cannot afford it, there's a lot of things you can do to soak it up and understand what you have to do instantly. You heard me talking with Bill, and I said that the moment this happens, 1 nanosecond right after that, boom, I'm protecting my money. I know they're coming after me. But we've actually already well prepared. My teams have already done that for us, and I'm grateful for it. So, how about a little dessert? Just a little bit. Just a little dessert. Okay, just a little bit. 3 things. Number 1, the VND. Number 2, something that I want to show you in my photographs. And number 3, to review the importance of what we gave you last night. So, number 1, you remember when we were talking yesterday, and I stopped because I said, oh, look, somebody just texted me and said, you're wrong, Frank. You said that the that the Iraqi dinar is pegged to the VND. And I said, no, I didn't. No, I didn't. I said that the dinar is pegged to the American dollar. Now, and that person was just trying to be helpful. They were not being disrespectful. They was just simply trying to be helpful. But I then responded by saying, no. Number one, you misunderstood me. I never said that the Vietnamese dong is pegged to the American dollar. I did not say that. I said that the Iraqi dinar is pegged to the American dollar, not the Vietnamese dong. But ladies and gentlemen, I want you to pay close attention that I did not deny. I did not deny what I was accused of falsely to be the truth. Because I didn't have the time. Our UB2Bs are extremely long. We had a lot of information to share with you last night, thank God. And when that was posed to me, yeah, I responded more so in a way to defend myself. Sorry. But that gentleman who said that I said that the American, or excuse me, the dong was pegged to the American dollar, he didn't say it was. He was telling me, hey, no, it's not. And that's why I think it's important that I tell you that it is. One, two, three. Yeah, it's about 3 seconds. Let it soak in. Wait a minute, Frank. You defended yourself last night from somebody telling you that you were wrong when you said that the dollar was pegged to the Vietnamese dong. Yeah, because I never said that. But I never said that it wasn't. I just didn't have the time to talk about it. Ladies and gentlemen, the Vietnamese dong is pegged to the American dollar. Now, I want you to realize that the Iraqi dinar, in my opinion, is or shall be very soon announced that it's pegged to the American dollar for a Middle Eastern basket. Okay. And then I told you that the Vietnamese dong is in its own basket called the Asian basket, a completely different basket, the other side of the world. Okay. But I want you to understand the importance of the Iraqi dinar being the linchpin in the Middle Eastern basket. Could be the same. It could be the same equivalent importance that the Vietnamese dong is pegged to the American dollar, and could be the linchpin for the Asian basket. It's called a slow crawl. A slow crawl. That's what they call the peg of the Vietnamese dong to the American dollar. And it's not really something that's talked about, publicized. It's not out in billboards. It's not that popular, and China certainly doesn't want to talk about it. But the Vietnamese dong is slow pegged in the sense of the definition. The word is slow crawl. There's a slow crawl peg of the American dollar with the Vietnamese dong. The crawling peg, if you want to call it that. Because that's actually what it's really called, the crawling peg. You see, it allows currencies to adjust with international markets, not in a free float manner, but simply it is reviewed and it is adjusted accordingly. So the Vietnamese dong is reviewed by who? The IMF. And by who? Well, who is it pegged to? U.S. Treasury? You got it. That is, I think, an important thing that we needed to talk about and slowly get it to click. Once again, it is a slow crawl. It's called the crawling peg. And this is mainly used with weak currencies. Weak currencies. Like Mexico. Third world country, like Mexico. And the Mexican peso. So the same slow crawl is used with with the Vietnamese dong. Love your colors. Like that. Are you guys listening to what I'm telling you? Because this is important. In fact, tell you what. Why don't you go study it on your own? Write this down. POLICONOMICS.com. Polyeconomics. Actually, it's polyeconomics is what it is. Polyeconomics.com. Learn as much as you can about Vietnam. And take what I just told you. In my opinion, the Iraqi dinar is the linchpin of a Middle Eastern basket because it is pegged to the American dollar. Therefore, in my opinion, it is possible that the Vietnamese dong, due to its economy and its GDP and its growth, its imports and exports, which is pegged to the American dollar, could be the linchpin of an Asian basket. Pretty cool, huh? That was number one. Number two. So we shared with you something last night that was extremely powerful. Ladies and gentlemen, you saw it. I held it up and I said, look, walkie stick. I didn't expect it. I go in the other room. I come back. Petra and M&M are talking and they said, oh, Frank's back. You have something to say, Frank? I said, yeah, the conference call is over with. So we're done. That's it. It's all based on what I have to share with you. And you heard what I shared with you last night. Now, watch this. This morning, Eddie is like, look. I know. I saw it last night, and I'm seeing it this morning. And here's what I want to show you. Let's see if we can flatten this out. Oh yeah, it does. I'll be darned. Stretch out. There you go. There it is in Arabic up on top, and then underneath it, you see it in English. So the Prime Minister of Iraq says some things, and then the Council of Ministers, the cabinet members of Kazemi, the Prime Minister, they come out and they say, spokesman for the Council of Ministers says, the Prime Minister indicated, Kazemi, to some of the successes achieved during this period. Please respect the first quarter. Oh, you did? Good. Because during this first quarter, we have achieved some successes, and most notably, we have preventing the collapse of the Iraqi economy and ending the notorious currency auctions. Whoa. Then there is another Arabic article, and I'm afraid I'm not. It'll take me forever to find it, but it's already in our form. Oh, gee whiz! What post number is it? If you're with me, what is the one? What is the post number? Tink, can you look up final article thread for me, and look up the last final articles that we put in this morning? There is one in there where Kazemi also, you see, this was the Council of Ministers, his cabinet. Then there's another one where Kazemi comes out and he's talking, and they quoted him as saying, our economical and financial issues, yeah, we ain't got none. Really? And when you stop and think about what we said, are those the last ones? There it is, right there. That's it. What post number is that?
This one is 649.
No, 650, babe.
640.
No. Final article number 650. Final article number 650. Okay, roll it up. Kazemi outlines what we were doing with our economy and the distribution, and then the salaries, and then the currency auctions. It was all notorious. It was really bad. We took care of it. And then he says, the country, Iraq. So I'll just say Iraq. Iraq is going through multiple crises and there are attempts to obstruct the work of the government. But, in other words, he's talking about Iran and the stopping of the auctions. They got nothing. But, he says, it has succeeded in preventing the collapse of the country economically and financially. Here, Tank, do me a favor. Take a picture of that for me and let me show it to the family. Now, come on. This is the prime minister himself that comes out and he tells everybody. And then the council of ministers under Kazemi come out and say almost mirror image the same words. In just this past period, in the first quarter, we have done some amazing things economically for our country and some amazing things for our monetary crisis. Yeah. Here, let me blow it up a little bit right there. Look at this. This is in our final article thread. That's why it would really behoove you to be a member of our forum. Everybody copies and pastes our articles because, in all honesty, it's easy. It's easy. By the way, I want to thank Toy VP for helping me out in gathering this information. He was very instrumental, and I appreciate our admin, Toy VP. Look at that. Look at that. We prevented it. Past tense. It doesn't exist anymore. It's older than Greek mythology. Sorry. So, wow, in my opinion. So, number one. Pretty cool. Number two. Thanks, Kazemi. Making me look good. And number three. This is the file that was given to us last night, and it just floored us. And with your permission, so we can end our conference call, I'm going to just go over this one more time, because I called Walking Stick this morning, and I said, "Sir, may I talk to you about our file from last night?" And he says, "Yeah, I've been waiting for you to call." I said, "Something wrong, sir?" He says, no, but it's the end, Frank. It's the end. I know, sir. When I finished talking with you last night and I came and sat in front of the camera, the Cheshire Cat has nothing on my smile. I was beaming because, and I told him, I said, and while I sat there listening to Petra and Eminem talk, you know, like a coffee cup. Remember the old commercials with Folgers coffee? Oh, yeah, it's brewing. Remember that old commercial? Yeah, I know it goes way back. 1950s. Stop it. Don't look at me that way. And I just sat there brewing, bubbling. And the more that I was quiet in my own thoughts after getting his file and letting Eminem and Petra continue to talk, my smile got bigger and bigger. Because it hit me hard. Dear Lord, it's happening. I'm sorry. Dear Lord, Walking Stick told us a little over a year ago, he says, all the information I'm about to give you, it's going to start trickling down a little bit at a time to the citizens, and you'll see it in articles. And the article came out, this is the whole reform, what we're doing. I called it the first article from the CBI. And then there was many months that went by. And now I can tell you, ladies and gentlemen, you're about to see the second article from the CBI. Yeah, the ice cream is still there. It hasn't melted. Yeah, everything. All the things I gave you that were thrown back in my face because human beings... Oh, we don't like to wait for anything. If I tell you that, in my opinion, it's going to happen tomorrow, people will complain, well, why isn't it happening in the next 5 minutes? Okay. I can't win no matter what. You know what I mean? It's always my fault. I sat there and I do you remember the second article that from the CBI, we said, ta-da, here it is. And it's going to come out. And as I sat there thinking about it Monday night, that was already 2 nights ago. No, wait a minute. That was Monday last. It was last. Oh, I'm tired. Turn the heat down now, honey. I was overflowing, and I had to keep a straight face. But somebody said, "Frank, your face is red." Is it really? Yeah, I had to look, like there was a reason why it was red. It was red because of what I read to you. Well, that's a good one. And I'm going to read it one more time. And hopefully with good emphasis, with that con el sabor, with the flavor. It tastes so good. I told Walking Stick last night, or this morning, I said, "Sir, I was excited." It was like an hour after you told me, it all hit me. Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh, this is the second article. This is what the one you told me about. This is where they're going to show them the new, and if they show them the new category notes, aren't they at the same time going to show them the new rate? And then I looked at the notes and I said, "Oh yeah, that's what you said right here. They're going to show them the new notes, and then they're going to show them the real effective exchange rate." Oh, son of a gun! This is it, Houston. We ain't got no problem. Not only have we landed, but we already collected the rocks and we're back inside the lunar module ready to take off. Oh my word. Do you understand? I can literally say goodbye to you because I believe in my teams. When we are mocked and spit upon by everyone else, you know what? It isn't. It isn't everyone else. Dear God, we're going we're headed towards 60,000 members of KTFA. You know any other site that can say that? They all gather here for a reason. All the other gurus you see copy and paste us for a reason. And it's not even 1%, 0.5%, maybe 0.1% based on the people that come that are so jealous of us. And if what we say doesn't happen within their nanosecond time frame, well then of course, we're everything that you can think of that they create in their minds. But we don't argue with them. We don't criticize them. We don't judge them. We don't even talk to them. We turn them over to God. I don't even want to think about their criticisms because it causes me to become worldly. It causes me to become a human. I'm just tired of sinning. That's what we do. That's what we do for a living. No one can go through a day and be like Jesus for one day. We're in an ocean. We're in an atmosphere of demons that constantly attack us and provoke us and cause us to think things that we would never say that out loud unless we were totally drunk. So, to say goodbye to you, let me review these 4 points that we gave you last night, because this is, remember I kept telling you, I'll see you on the other side? Yeah, this is it. I can literally say goodnight to you right now, say goodbye to you. And I told you what? Well, let's see what I told you. Walking Stick and I wish to share with you one more time, ladies and gentlemen, in our opinion, in the next 2 or 3 days, possibly this week or at the start of next week, you're going to start seeing more articles from the CBI. And number one, the first articles that will be coming out within the next time frame that we gave you is an affirmation. It's an affirmation of the meetings that the CBI has been having with what we call the Fab Four. And these meetings, by the way, they're still ongoing. And they've actually added more meetings, not just the Saturday meetings. Number two, once you see these articles of an affirmation about these meetings and their agreements of what they are going to do with their monetary reform. A few days later after that, you're going to see more articles from the CBI with information on the face value of the new small category notes. Now, I don't know which notes they're going to pass out, but as an example, citizens of Iraq, this is your new 1, your new 5, your new, I don't know, 2025. These are your new small category notes. Yeah, please enjoy them. Get to know them. Oh, and also, citizens of Iraq, you still have dinar mattress, don't you, huh? That's okay, because they will coexist. Like the 1,000, like the 500, whatever you have, it's still going to coexist, but only for a certain time, Iraqi citizens. So you might as well bring them on in. We keep telling you to do so, okay? Yeah, and CBI, or I'm sorry, CBI. This is the CBI talking. GOI, you go ahead and use the 50K and the 100K, for business. Yeah, you go right ahead. Ladies and gentlemen, that is so powerful. Because if they're going to show them the face value of the new small category notes, wouldn't they also, number 3, they will also, the CBI, discuss in these articles to the citizens what was agreed upon with the new exchange rate and the real effective exchange rate. Well, yeah. You think? If you're going to show me the face of a new currency, wouldn't you show me the exchange rate of that new currency? Yeah. Okay. And number 4, these meetings are still ongoing. They will continue even after the value of the Iraqi dinar goes up and pegs to the American dollar. These meetings will continue to make sure that everything is according to what they all agreed upon. Praise God. Praise God from whom all blessings flow. I hope you enjoyed your UB2B infomercial UB2B tonight of the Protection Group LLC Trust Program and your dessert. I told you last night that Walking Stick was going to get a call at 4:30 in the morning with more information about this. Yes, he did. Y'all take care of each other, okay? God bless. God bless you. Pray for each other, lift each other, support each other, visit each other. Yes, he did. And I also told you yesterday that I will decide when I'm ready to share that with you. I actually should just say goodbye to you completely and tell you I'll meet you on the other side. I'll talk to you soon. God bless you. Bye-bye. Aloha. Aloha no ke oe, because you are.